If you watch this video for just 10 minutes, you'll learn what would normally take you months to understand about Web3. If you don't watch it, 5 years from now, future you will be furious with present you. Right now, a lot of money is being made in a world called Web3. Today, we'll explore what Web3 is, why it's important for our lives, and what impact it will have in the future. First, let's break down the term Web3, starting with the number 3. Before Web3, there were Web 1 and Web 2. These represent changes in the world of the Internet we use. Web 1 was the very early stage of the Internet, also known as the read era. At that time, we were amazed just to receive services from the web. We didn't expect more and simply consumed what was provided. We followed Google search results, read news from portals like Yahoo, and bought goods only from major retailers. In other words, we could only read the services provided by the suppliers. In the Web 2 era, our participation became possible, known as the read-write era. This is the era of platforms as we know them. Now, we could not only receive content, but also create and upload it. We could post on Facebook and Instagram, upload videos on YouTube, and list products on Amazon. Companies that quickly embraced Web 1 and Web 2 became dominant, and savvy individuals also made a lot of money. First-generation companies like Google, Yahoo, and AOL were examples of Web 1. Second-generation companies like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube represented Web 2. But today, we'll focus more on individuals rather than companies. In the first generation, quick individuals built websites so people could consume their content. Early adopters went beyond being individuals to becoming large media companies. In the second generation, quick individuals became influencers on Facebook and Instagram, created large pages, became power sellers on Amazon, and created personal media on YouTube. Platforms invested massive capital to attract millions of users, and savvy individuals used these platforms to make a lot of money. My life as an ordinary office worker suddenly changed when I started understanding the Web 2 era. When I began studying platforms, I thought, I can make money by standing on the shoulders of giants without creating my own platform. So, I used platforms like blogs, YouTube, Amazon, and Airbnb, and it helped me move one step closer to the life I wanted. Now, I'm focusing on the Web 3 era. Web 3 is still struggling to establish itself and leaves many questions unanswered. Let's recap to understand what Web 3 is. Remember, Web 1 was the read era, and Web 2 was the read-write era. Web 3 is called the read-write-own era. In the Web 1 and Web 2 eras, there were absolute central authorities like Google, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This is where problems started. Originally, the web was a vast, almost limitless frontier where everyone started equally and could pioneer. However, now a few large companies, once pioneers, control the web like a nation or government. If we break the rules on each platform, we get kicked out. And creators who work hard on these platforms have their income decided by the judge called algorithm without clear reasons. And a big part of their earnings is taken as fees. YouTube managed to attract people despite the difficulty of producing video content compared to text or images because it paid well. There was no other platform that shared revenue like YouTube. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter didn't pay for content creation. People had to create their own business models if they had a large following. Another issue with the platform-dominated era of Web 2 is this. Even if you create content on a platform, the algorithm might change, and your content might not reach people. Worse, if the platform goes under, all your hard work disappears with it. There was a time when having many followers on Facebook meant making money. Even now, a few page owners make a lot of money. But as Facebook changed its algorithm and lost influence, most pages are now sold for cheap or are inactive. Another point, most services we use are free, but collect our personal information intensely. It's widely known that Facebook can know more about us than our spouses. You talk about mountain biking with a friend over lunch, and hours later, you see mountain bike ads on Instagram. We've traded our rights for convenience and entertainment in this devil's bargain. These issues make people want something new. Now, people want their content to exist on the web without platform control, to earn untaxed income, and to avoid their personal data being exploited by AI. Ultimately, the human desire for freedom led to the creation of a new era called Web3. In the Web2 era, content was stored on centralized servers controlled by platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. In Web3, content is recorded on decentralized storage through blockchain technology, not centralized servers. This means even if a platform fails or is forgotten, your content remains intact. Also, without platform regulation, you won't suffer from corporate censorship without your knowledge. Let's take an example. Imagine we played the game Diablo, and Blizzard deletes our account for an unknown reason. We lose all the items in that account, right? But in Web3, this won't happen. Those items are recognized as yours on the blockchain. Also, until now, we had to sign up separately for every web service. But in Web3, you can prove your identity with a single record. Web3 ensures personal freedom, so even payment methods aren't controlled by any government. Cryptocurrencies were created to avoid powerful countries like the US from printing excessive money and devaluing currency. So, after hearing all this, do you understand why Web3 still feels unfamiliar to us? First, the concept itself is hard for people to accept. We are used to being part of something from birth until now. We call that something a country or government. Having a state or government isn't necessarily bad, right? Depending on your perspective, if you live in a developed country, central institutions often play important roles. These central institutions provide laws, order, and welfare. So most people are very accustomed to this concept. But Web3 is decentralized, permissionless, and autonomous. In Web2, big companies acted like powerful states. But with Web3, these structures disappear. And it feels strange. Perfect freedom is something we've never experienced, so it feels unfamiliar. That's why there are no iconic services like Google, Facebook, YouTube, or Amazon in Web3 yet. Also, maintaining order without central institutions remains a challenge. The most symbolic concepts in Web3 are cryptocurrencies and NFTs. Cryptocurrencies, like those involved in the Luna or FTX incidents, have taken a long time to recover trust. Similarly, the NFT market has shrunk significantly from its early days. The Luna and FTX crises were caused by ethical issues within centralized authorities. To move to Web3, we need to embrace decentralization and autonomy. But this concept is still difficult for people to grasp. People need to get used to autonomy and maintaining order on their own. How quickly and effectively people adapt to this autonomy will be crucial. The core of Web3 is blockchain. In simple terms, blockchain technology makes it impossible to forge records on the web. And once recorded, they can't be erased. Cryptocurrencies and NFTs are created using this blockchain technology. Here's the dream scenario of a fully realized blockchain world. Our familiar currencies like the dollar or euro are replaced by cryptocurrencies. What's the benefit of this? For example, imagine all our financial transactions are done using blockchain technology, making them transparent and immutable. This means we no longer rely on central banks or governments to manage our money, reducing risks of manipulation or corruption. Ultimately, this decentralized system provides greater security, transparency, and autonomy in our digital lives. Let's use an imaginary company as an example. This company is creating a new content platform using blockchain technology. Users create their own content, but they retain ownership, and the platform only helps them produce it easily. We can invest in this company. The company spends money in cryptocurrency, and all expense records are stored on the blockchain. Investors can easily see how the company spends its money and don't have to worry about accounting fraud. The ownership of investors is also recorded using NFT technology. Based on this ownership, investors can participate in online meetings to discuss the company's direction. Currently, even if we invest a lot of money in stocks, we can't see how the company spends its money, whether the accounting books are manipulated, or if the CEO is using the money for personal purposes. But in the ideal Web3 era, all this becomes possible. However, it seems unlikely that the web paradigm will quickly shift to this ideal Web3. The reasons, as mentioned earlier, are human resistance and the advantages of centralized power. But the times are gradually changing, and a new hybrid model mixing Web 2 and Web 3 might emerge. One thing is certain: those who understand even a little bit of this new idea will have a significant advantage over those who don't. If you're curious about how to make money in Web 3, keep watching this video.